Alright guys, medic. I might have to go get a stitch or two. I cut myself pretty good on my K-bar, wiping a little oil on the blade. So we're going to take care of this, and if you don't see any videos from me, you know where I am. Passed on to the great K-bar factory in the sky. Here's the result, guys. Gonna let this bleed a little longer before I wrap it up. This is a pretty good cut. Messing with my K-bar, I was trying to clean the blade and put a little oil on it, and of course it was a little sharper than I thought and went through the rag and cut me pretty good. So all the more reason why you want to be careful when you're using knives. Now I'm gonna let this bleed a minute or two to make sure we get all the germs and disease out of the wound, and then I'll take a look and reevaluate and decide whether or not I'm gonna go for a stitch on this. It's pretty deep, so as you saw from the earlier video, it was a good one. Well, if you listen to old Bushcraft 412 throughout the years, hopefully you have a first aid kit. Now you can see I've got this bleeding to stop with this sucker. I washed it really good after a minute. I let it bleed a minute just to help wash out any bacteria or anything like that, which pretty standard when I cut myself on anything. Let it bleed a minute, get everything out of that wound you can just by the natural process of bleeding. So you can see I took a kind of a sideward slice. I was trying to wipe on the blade, wipe oil onto the blade, and my hand kind of slipped and went like that on the blade and took a slice upwards, as you can see. It's actually pretty deep. You can see it goes almost to my nail. So I kind of took like a flap of skin. So I washed this in soap and water. Really good. Of course, if you're in the woods, you're not going to be able to do that. You're going to have to make do with what you have. You know, the water could be contaminated, could be dirty, you don't know. So this is why you always have a first aid kit with you. Even, you know, mundane things like day hikes or whatever, this stuff happens. You know, even to people as stupid as me. Yeah, I bet you thought I was going to say experienced, huh? No. People as stupid as me, stuff like this happens, so it's always a good idea to have that first aid kit. You know, of course, these things bleed really bad. Fingers always bleed bad, guys, and at first glance, they're always going to seem way worse than they are. But we're going to show you some real basic first aid. Like I said, you know, a good infection can take you down in no time. So knowing a first aid kit and knowing how to use it is really important. So what we're going to do, we got just a run-of-the-mill alcohol swab here. I've already washed my hand, but we're going to do this as an extra precautionary measure. Help get some of this dry blood off. Jeez, of course, this is like the worst alcohol pad in the face of the earth. So, oh my god, that hurts. So we're going to... Woo! That stings, guys. I'll tell you that right now. I'm going to try and get along the nail there. Whew, that stings. Okay. So we basically sanitize that area. See, it's mostly just dry blood at this point. I don't want to reopen the wound. So we have a run-of-the-mill Band-Aid here, which you always want to make sure you open properly, guys. We'll show you that technique as well when we get to it. Sorry, I'm trying to do this. Trying to keep this wound here as untouched as possible. Now you take your Band-Aid out, leave that sterile on there. Now we're going to take our triple antibiotic, which you should have in every first aid kit, and we're going to put a gob over the wound. Of course, is this... Oh, there we go. Put a nice healthy bead over that. Now the idea is, being this is clean, is to not touch it as much as humanly possible. Not to bring any germs from your other hand or anything like that into it. So if you can apply it directly without using your other hand, do that. Now from here, the correct way to put a Band-Aid on, guys, is not to touch that sterile part of the cloth. And these things, don't seem like a big deal, but you're out in the woods, you're lost, you're, whatever. This can be life or death. You can get an infection from this in, a couple of days. So what we're going to do, make sure our frame here first. So we're going to go, and you take the sterile part, and that's going to put that on without touching underneath. And of course you're going to take this other one, not touching the sterile portion, and there, now the wound is covered. And we're going to smush in that antibiotic real good. And if I were out in the woods at this point, I would now probably wrap my thumb in duct tape or something like that on top of the band-aid, just to keep anything from seeping under there. But that right there, simple as it gets. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up.